is the big talk of today. An animal gets loose at Roger Williams Park Zoo.
Pictures of the zoo there, where a leopard has escaped its habitat. National news now, tigers, lions, and other dangerous animals escape a zoo.
Tiger that escaped a zoo in Reynosa on Wednesday.
Ready? Animals have escaped the zoo. Well, not really. Legendary live music venue, The Zoo, closed its doors after 30 years this July, leaving many gig and concert goers devastated with the news. Though venue opening and closures are very common in the Valley, the TBC Club, the Foundry, La Rouge and the Flying Cock, these high-profile venues in a prime location are still struggling to compete with the cost of living crisis. But are new venues scratching the itch in Brisbane's once hotspot for live music? And if so, what's the current state of live music in Brisbane? Thank you.
West Coast.
Brisbane's punk scene emerged in the late 1970s, fueled by political tension, isolation, and creative rebellion. At the time, Queensland was under conservative rule, whose strict laws and censorship really seemed to ignite the youth's desire for change and war. Bands such as The Saints, pioneering a raw, DIY sound that shaped the alternative landscape in Australia. And Brisbane's music scene is certainly not dead. To this day, bands have continued the legacy of raw sound, DIY shows, and creating a further sense of community in the alternative music landscape. So why now? Why the change? Well, there's a lot of reasons. One of them being rising costs, with elements such as operation, rent, insurance, and security, with little government funding. Struggling independent venues find it hard to stay afloat against the top dogs in the Valley. Declining ticket sales across the board is also a huge factor. A survey conducted by the Australian Institute found that 3 in 5 16 to 25-year-olds see cost as a main barrier of them attending music events, though 2 out of 3 of them said that attending live music is important to them. People are more inclined to save their money for bigger artists. The final aspect is a cultural shift in young people. According to the same survey previously mentioned, young people primarily find new music through streaming services instead of events, and many reports suggest that less people are drinking while they're out.
I needed to gain more insight from someone with insider knowledge. I reached out to a band member from Brixton Alley named Johnny, and luckily he came and had a coffee with me. We chatted about his humble beginnings, him adapting to life in Australia, and also venue closures around the Valley and how it's affecting his way to connect with audiences. You got any favourite venues you want to give a shout out to?
A few. I mean, Tomcat is probably the all-time. That's probably where we played the most shows in the Valley.
Yeah.
And also the place that gave us the most opportunities when we first came here, I would say. But that's, you know, that's a difficult thing as well, because you have these amazing venues like the Triffid and the Tivoli, and you've got these amazing venues like Tomcat and King Lear's Throne, which is now gone, but those smaller venues where people can, you know, get started in a sense.
Yeah.
And then, but that's a jump from those type of venues to somewhere that's like 800, 1,000 cap venues.
Definitely.
The venues that are in between that are so important.
It's when you do see shows happening less and less, like with the zoo, it didn't just happen.
Yeah.
There was less and less shows happening.
Exactly.
And they were very quiet for a couple of years, which is sad, and you kind of don't know till it's too late.
Exactly, yeah. You're seeing it kind of, but you're not really concerned about it because you just assume they'll be fine. Like, they've been going for decades, like, and then it's just like bang, and it's like, oh my god, and then it's like, what could we have done, you know? But
yeah.
After speaking to Johnny, I felt inspired to go to the Valley and talk to people about the Brisbane music scene. We went to an array of clubs, but we mainly stuck to Greaser and Tomcat for relevancy to the interview.
What's your name, mate?
I'm Matt. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sam, hello. Hello, I'm Sam.
Nice one. Nice to meet you. So, what are your favourite places to go to in the Valley?
The Valley?
The two big ones I know that are King Lear's,
Yep.
the Zoo, and Bad Luck Bar.
Nicola, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
What's your favourite pubs in the valley?
Sometimes there's only free entry.
A lot of the bands that I like to go to are usually at Greaser or the Bright Side.
The music's shit. The music is so bad. I mean, there's no live artists anymore. That could be.
I think like a lot of it is there's like price is obviously a big thing.
Yeah.
But also because there's a lot of especially like local artists are now doing a lot more gigs together.
Bands don't play in those places because obviously they're closed down, so
Yeah.
there's people getting around, fast drinks, rockets up, a lot of all that shit. So yeah.
So they can rock wise and metal.
Good things.
Good things, yeah. Like I'm saving for that one. I'm like,
Mainly because it's just too much money, like, to get into the valley. Not really, no. Like, honestly, like, no one wants to go out because it's too expensive, or sort of thing like.
I take a bar, take it over, and you can use the music.
Whatever goes up must come down. It is clear that the cost of living is having an effect on the youth and their ability to go out and enjoy themselves.
Doolan.
Doolan.
Yeah.
My next interview was with Troy Doolan. He has worked with many bands in Fortitude Valley, but most notably he has worked in his own project, Great Sage, which was one of the first bands I saw live in Brisbane.
Yeah, Black Bear was home for ages. Starting out, I think it's tough to kind of get into the groove of being in a scene because there's a bunch of weird things you have to take into consideration. Like there's already established groups. There's people who are in these cliques, and you kind of have to break in, and it's hard to do that. I feel like community is a buzzword, right? But
Yeah.
but it is that. It's just like places where you can go and you can hang around, and be a part of something, and not just have to cold message a band on Instagram or something like that. So I think more places need to adopt sort of a different approach. It can't just be like bands, because unfortunately they just don't have the same pull they did in the 70s and 80s. People need to be able to do more than one thing with their spaces.
And Marty is doing certainly that. Owner of Catalogue Music based in Fortitude Valley, he is juggling being a record store owner and an event space for artists based in Brisbane.
I think record stores are one of the most fundamentally important yardsticks or foundations for, and I don't quote unquote culture. The event space side of it was actually a kind of a secondary thought. It came with the ability to facilitate it, but with the size of the room, people going, oh, where is this place? Like,
Yeah.
it's this record store where you can have gigs and that, and then word of mouth, which is the best marketing. So those events have been really essential to the sustainability of the place. And I mean, it's still not sustainable by any means. Really, it's certainly not profitable. But even now, like an event I've got for the up till Christmas and New Year's, a bunch of them booked, and they'll be, close to enough to pay most of the rent for the month each month.
Mm-hmm.
So scary to think that there's no support available for live music venues unless you're ticking the boxes that the hoteliers do with the pokies, then all of that, top end of town.
And love it. Thanks, Marty.
Word. Thanks for having me and for my time.
Independent stores such as Marty's are finding it hard to stay afloat during the cost of living crisis. With little support from the government, we won't know until it's too late. The best thing we can do is buy local artists' records and merch, go to their concerts, show support. Some of the independent venues listed are stepping stones for smaller artists, and without them, the Valley will never be the same. Thanks for watching.